Uganda's only radiotherapy machine collapsed after 21 years of service at the National Referral Hospital, Mulago. As a result, at least 400 patients have been left with no access to radiotherapy, and cancer sufferers will have to travel to neighboring Kenya if they are to receive treatment, which could cost them up to $5,000. Is this merely a symptom of Uganda's ailing health sector? On the spotlight is the State Minister for Health, Dr. Baryomunsi. Dr. Baryomunsi, welcome to the show. You're on the spot tonight.
Thank you very much, Patrick. I'm happy to be here once again.
Today, as government, you have promised to transport 400 patients to go to the Aga Khan Hospital in Nairobi, where the Aga Khan has promised to treat at least 400 people. But if you, as a government, had planned earlier, we wouldn't find ourselves as a country in this situation where you have to transport people from here to Nairobi.
No, I think you are putting the facts wrongly. First of all, you are opening caption, the opening statement is not accurate. You have said Uganda's only radiotherapy machine has broken down. That's not true. We actually have 2 radiotherapy machines functioning in Mulago.
They are doing a different type of work. The 2 which are functioning are not like the one that has broken down.
I'll come to it. Then secondly, it is not true that 400 patients have been left the mercy of God and that they have to be taken to Nairobi. That's also not true. Let me clarify, because I think there has been a lot of information getting out and it has created a lot of fear in the public. An impression has been created as if now if you have cancer, you cannot get treatment in Mulago and in Uganda. And also an impression has been created as if radiotherapy is the only form of treatment or managing cancer. And I'm here to clarify.
Don't you, as a government, have a plan of taking cancer sufferers to Nairobi at the Aga Khan Hospital, okay, Dr. Baryomunsi?
No.
Don't you?
It's only Aga Khan University Hospital that has offered to treat for free up to 400 patients.
Because there's a problem at Mulago?
Yes, there's a problem. Let me explain.
That's why they have offered that.
First of all, it is not true that we only use radiotherapy to manage cases of cancer. There are several treatment options which we use. The first one is surgery. The second one is use of drugs, chemotherapy. The third is radiotherapy. Then we have palliative care, which means symptomatic management. So we have a range of options. There are even other options like use of hormones, immunotherapy, and so forth. Now, with respect to radiotherapy, we do not use it alone. It's usually used in combination with the other methods. And when you look at the patients in Mulago, and indeed in Uganda, most of the cancer patients come when they are in advanced stages. So radiotherapy has largely been used for palliation, for relief of symptoms like pain, bleeding, and so forth.
So, Dr. Baryomunsi, if there is a cancer patient
yes,
in excruciating pain
yes,
and there is no radiotherapy machine to help,
yes,
that patient is going to continue with that pain?
No. There are other forms of relieving pain. For instance,
then why would you be open to an offer from the Aga Khan Hospital in Nairobi?
Well, I will come to that. Let me first state that the radiotherapy is given in 2 ways. Radiotherapy, first of all, means that you use a beam of radiation to hit at the cancer cells, either to kill the cancer cells or to stop them from further division and replication. And the first mode of radiotherapy is where you use external beams from outside to hit at a cancer, what we call teletherapy. And this is the machine which has collapsed. Now,
that's the machine, yes, we are talking about tonight.
Yes. But the other form of radiotherapy is what we call brachytherapy, where you use that to treat cancers which are in the cavities of the body. For instance, cancer of the cervix, which is the biggest form of cancer among women that we see in Mulago and in the country. So the cancers which are in the cavities, like cancer of the cervix, if the cancer is
inside
in the anal cavity, yes.
Is that what you mean, inside?
Not necessarily inside, but in the cavities like the vaginal cavity, the anal cavity, in the mouth, cancers of the throat, the tongue, the oral cavity. Those we use a different machine which is available. We actually have 2. We have a low dose brachytherapy machine and a high dose brachytherapy machine. And for most of the cancer that we see, they will still be managed using that
So,
machine.
but you agree that the machine that is giving the external beam, the external beam has collapsed?
Yes. Secondly, the brachytherapy machine I have described, you can fix probes or applicators so that you can actually use it for the same function to treat the cancer from the external aspects. And those are the modifications that we are doing. And like I said, most of the cases of cancer seen at Cancer Institute have been using radiotherapy for palliation. And right now our experts there are evaluating patients to see the other forms of palliative care, like relief of pain using morphine and other strong painkillers to do the same work. And therefore the assurance I want to give is that the way it has been presented that there is a crisis, there is no crisis as far as we are concerned, as far as health workers are concerned. Yes, there is a setback that the machine has broken down, but all patients will still be getting care from our people. Now, what has happened is that the Aga Khan Hospital in Nairobi, on their own initiative, out of corporate social responsibility, wrote to us that they are willing to treat up to 400 patients who are very needy, and then the extra patients will be at a subsidized price. That is the letter which we received. That's what I said in Parliament today. And what the experts, the Cancer Institute, will now do is that, first of all the patients will continue getting the care. But should there be some patients where there is a strong feeling that they may need a radiation beam from a radiotherapy machine, then they will be evaluated and maybe we can send them.
So you,
but those will be very few. Those will be very few.
You seem to suggest that the radiotherapy machine we've been having, as if it has not been working, it's not required.
No, it is required.
If it is required,
but there are options. There are options.
If it is required and has collapsed,
yes,
then you have a problem.
Well, it's right problem.
And if it is only one that is
doing
the job that is doing.
But I've told you that we have two
those you have
machines.
To modify them to do what the other machine to do.
By fixing applicators which can now give an external beam the same way the other machine was giving. Secondly, for purposes of palliation, like those who come with strong pain, we have alternative means of relieving pain.
If that was the case, you wouldn't be going to the floor of Parliament, Dr. Baryomunsi, and saying there's an offer from the Aga Khan. You are considering it if you know that you can modify other machines and they are able to work on the patients.
Yes, what I said that there has been this offer, and our oncologists, our experts in Mulago, will carefully evaluate the patients. And where there is a strong need, then they can send those patients. But I can tell you they will be extremely very few. Let me give you an example. If somebody, for instance, has a tumor on the external part of the body, and the decision is to do what we call primary treatment by giving that local beam as a primary form of treatment, which is very rare in the management of cancer.
So that person will be evacuated.
Such exceptional circumstances, if, for instance, the option is available may not be adequate, then that one can be taken. But if you talk to the
shame or even a scar on the conscience of a nation like ours, that we have to take our patient to a sister nation?
No, it's not. First of all, our radiotherapy services have been serving people from Rwanda, from DRC, from Tanzania, from Kenya. Let me tell you that out of the 52 countries in Africa, 29 of them don't have radiotherapy services. Did you know that, for instance? So what has happened is not that heaven has fallen on earth. It is a temporary setback, but there are measures, there are options we are putting in place, and no patient.
For the patient who is suffering right now from cancer and is listening to you, and he or she is undergoing excruciating pain, unbearable. To hear you talk like that and the machine is not there, you are just increasing their pain.
No. I am saying, yes, the machine broke down, but there are options available. And if the question of pain, like we are saying, we can use strong painkillers like morphine. But we are also adding applicators to these existing machines to give the external beams the other therapy machine was giving. So I am saying we have options and patients will not suffer simply because the machine has
You are a medical doctor and you understand this more. If by the time you are giving morphine and you have a radiotherapy, you know the use of both of the two, there is a reason why you have to use a radiotherapy at one point and a morphine on the other.
Yes.
If it is for palliative care.
Yes, but I'm saying morphine is one option, depending on the intensity of the pain. But I'm saying even the other machines, we have, I said, a low dose brachytherapy machine. We have a high dose, which is actually recently installed. It's very new, where we can put external probes and it will do the palliative care.
Dr. Baryomunsi, what do you make of the recent visit by the Atomic Energy Council that went to Mulago Cancer Institute and actually said that the people working there and the patients have been, exposed to radiation?
Well, what is true
because
that
more or less the machines are obsolete.
Well, what is true that the machine was ordered, as the public knows, it was installed in 1995. Yes, it was ordered, and we knew we had already begun a process of acquiring a new machine. But it is not true that the machine or that the health workers there were deliberately exposing themselves and the patients to these radioactive materials. First of all, let me say, the people who have been manning those machines are highly trained. These are physicists, these are radiologists, and people who are specialized in radiotherapy.
I'm not doubting their capacity at all.
I do not know.
Only quoting.
I do not know the.
Look,
first of all, the Atomic Council.
I'm not doubting their capacity.
Is the regulator.
But look, the Atomic Council is the regulator.
So why didn't they shut down the unit?
This is what they said. They said
what stopped them from shutting the unit?
And the staff have been exposed to radiation.
So do they wait for the machine to break down or to come and tell Parliament?
You are the minister. Then you should.
I do not have advice from them on my desk as a Minister of Health. So why didn't they advise the Minister of Health to shut down the unit? But do they think that the people who have been manning the unit are less qualified by those officials from Atomic Council? I think some people want to talk out of populism and make news, but for us, as far as we are concerned, rigorous, careful measures have been taken not to expose anybody to hazards.
Dr. Baryomunsi, is it not the Atomic Energy Council that is supposed to regulate work like this?
Yes.
So when they make a statement, you listen.
So what? Their role is not to make statements. Their role is take action.
When they assess,
if they assess,
when they inspect,
and they found the machine is not worth use, why didn't they advise the government to close it? Do you wait for a parliamentary committee years later to say that? Were they blocked by Ministry of Health? Were they blocked by government? Do you think the radiologists who run the machine are so stupid that they must expose themselves to radiation, which we know is extremely hazardous?
I do not want to challenge their expertise, and I know they are, but I'm trying to say they have a regulator, and this regulator, this is what he has said.
Yes, but should the regulator act through just the media and so forth? Oh, you should actually go to a unit. If you find not worth operating, then you should close it there and then, especially for a dangerous and hazardous material like radiation, like radiotherapy. So, did they advise the government? I have not seen a letter they wrote the Minister of Health advising that you must close that unit. But what I am sure of is that the experts we have are extremely qualified. They are highly qualified. They know what radiation is. And I don't think anybody would put himself or herself in a way of danger from radiation.
So what is going to happen
to
this machine? When is this country or Mulago National Referral Hospital going to get the replacement of the machine that has collapsed?
Yes, we knew that the machine is getting old, obviously. And in 2013, we did pay for a new cobalt-60 machine in Austria. And we have shown the public a copy of the receipt, because sometimes people are doubtful about what the government says. But we paid up to over 1.2 billion. 2013. Then the experts from the International Atomic Energy Council advised that the new machine cannot be installed in the bunker, the bunker which is the Mulago that is old. They advised we should build a new bunker. And then now we embarked on the process of coming up with a design. People have said, how can it take you that period to build a design? Now, producing a design for a bunker is not like going to Nakasero to buy yellow bananas or tomatoes. It is a complicated, sophisticated process that requires experts from the International Atomic Energy Council to be part of the process, to verify and certify some of the processes. But I can say the design, which is a complicated scientific process, is now complete and reported there. The procurement process for the contractor to do the bunker has also been concluded. It's being concluded. And like we have said before in public, we expect in the first week of May to have the contractor on the ground and the construction should start. So once the construction starts, we shall trigger the manufacture of the machine. And we hope by the time the construction is completed, then the machine will have been manufactured and shipped here, and then it will be installed and it should be up and running. We are engaging the contractor who has already been identified to work day and night, and we have been given assurance that within 6 months the bunker should be completed. Let me also add that this is it's actually 7 bunkers in one, a huge construction, but with 7 apartments,
chambers or something,
yeah, compartments, which will house several top-of-the-range imaging equipment and radiotherapy equipment, like the machine which I've already bought. We shall buy a linear accelerator, we shall buy a positron emission tomography machine, and many others top-of-the-range imaging equipment to make sure that the Cancer Institute is the state of the art. So I just want to give that word of comfort, hope, that we are doing everything possible to ensure that services are not disrupted. So in 6 months, we should be set with a new machine, and many more machines will be installed. But in the meantime, like I have said, we shall use the 2 existing machines by way of modification, by inserting the applicators, which can still give an external beam the way the other machine was doing, and also look at alternative means of providing palliation services.
But you also stated that even that modification, there could be cases that cannot be handled by the modification, and you have to refer them to Nairobi. Yes,
that would depend on the evaluation done by the experts.
You said that's
just in the case, yes, in the case.
We are going
in the case, but there would be very few. So the clarification I want to give, it's not true that all the cases of cancer that use or need radiotherapy will be taken to Nairobi.
But that can be answered after an evaluation. So you cannot
the evaluation we know.
Cannot give a definite answer.
We know the kind of cases.
Yes, but still,
like for now,
going to follow an evaluation report.
Evaluation means clinical assessment of the patients.
That's what you follow.
For instance, somebody may get a very complicated complication like airway obstruction, but there will be few rare cases. It's not that all the patients who need radiotherapy will be taken to Nairobi. So in extreme rare circumstances, is maybe you may find some few.
We're going to take a break, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi. When we come back, I'll be asking, is the problem only at the National Referral Hospital in Mulago, or we have a serious crisis in the health sector? We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Amara, and my guest tonight is Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, Minister of State for Health. Yes. And I've just been reading an opinion in the Daily Monitor, and I think it's true, because from a senior journalist in Uganda, Daniel Karinaki, and he was citing a case where in 2012, Mulago's total budget, National Referral Hospital, was $20 million. But guess what? Government spent about $150 million to treat the privileged class, ministers and members of parliament, abroad. Does it make sense?
Well, I'm not sure about the figures and the source of figures, but what we know true, we are not investing maybe what is adequate to run the health sector in Uganda, although progressively over time, the budget for the health sector has been increasing.
Yes, but it is true. How much money are you spending on treating the privileged class, like where you belong, sir, and God forbid, if disaster strikes? How much money is government spending compared to what you spend on the National Referral Hospital?
No, I don't have the figures.
It's not fair, because you're spending much more than what you're spending in Mulago.
Well, I do not believe that. I don't know which sources he was quoting. What I know is that the process of referring a patient outside is quite rigorous, and we are not very reckless to just spend money anyhow. I can also say,
if you're spending on ministers and members of parliament, that's not being reckless. That these are your people. These are These are
an impression should not be created that any member of parliament, any minister who falls sick,
so they are even outside. You have to select even some.
I can tell you, my children, all of them were born in Mulago Hospital. When I fall sick, I go to Mulago Hospital. It's only in those rare cases where the specialists feel that they cannot handle that case whatever reason, which they have to satisfy.
Is it not unfortunate for a member of parliament who I gather on his income is not paying taxes, but when disaster strikes and he's really very sick, you have to use public resources to treat that member of parliament, and yet he's not even contributing from his income to pay taxes?
So you want him to die?
No, at least to pay taxes, at least.
No, but we pay taxes.
On your income.
Who tells you? You do.
Pay as you earn.
We do. Yes, I do pay taxes on my salary. It is deducted. The taxes are deducted. Hey, it's because I don't have my pay slip here. I would have shown you. I can tell you that my salary is 2.6 million. When they deduct salary, it remains 1.5 million Uganda shilling. That I can say publicly.
Yeah, but you're told to take home
tomorrow I can
million shillings.
No. My salary. And tomorrow I can bring you a pay slip if you want. I know
even that allowance should be taxed.
Why not? They have actually
But that's where the money
I think
is.
somebody went to court and the court ruled that it should be taxed, and they are taxing it. So it's no longer a very big issue anyway. But how many members of parliament have been thrown out of the country for treatment? Because an impression should not be created that anybody in parliament or in the government who falls sick is taken outside. Actually, the majority are treated here. It's only in rare special circumstances that the experts feel they cannot manage that condition here in Uganda.
You as a minister,
but also
Honorable Chris Baryomunsi, as a minister, would love to know the figure you are spending on treating VIPs,
well,
as vis-a-vis the money you have as a budget for the National Referral Hospital.
Okay, that I wish you had alerted me before I came. I can find out the figures. I don't want to speak off the cuff without accurate figures, but you can invite me back here, or I actually should write an article in the media and put the figures. But the one factor I can give you is that the number of VIPs or Ugandans who are being referred outside is progressively getting down, because we have deliberately decided to invest in Monago Hospital, to turn Monago Hospital into a center of excellence, and we are able to manage a number of conditions. For instance, the Uganda Cancer Institute. This unfortunate event notwithstanding of the breakdown of the machine, we are able to diagnose and manage a number of cases. Take an example of our late colleague, Rosemary, who was a staff of here. She was in the UK suffering with this cancer, but the system there could not diagnose that cancer. When she came back to Uganda, the diagnosis of this rare cancer was done at the Uganda Cancer Institute. This shows you that a lot of improvement has gone on, and we are able to manage a number of conditions. Look at the Uganda Heart Institute. We are able to carry out most of the operations, both open heart surgery
There's no doubt
those are the conditions. Those are the conditions. Those are the conditions which used to take
the
Ugandans outside.
There's no doubt.
I can also
I have no doubt in my mind that the Ugandan doctors and medical practitioners are top notch.
Absolutely.
But even when they fly the VIPs out to Aga Khan or Johannesburg, chances are that you are going to meet a Dr. Samogere or a Dr. Kanyike or a Dr. Okelo working on you in South Africa.
So what has been lacking?
The issue is the facilities you are giving them, the pay you are giving them, the condition under which they are working.
Absolutely. So the major problem has been actually the equipment to make diagnosis, the equipment to manage the conditions. And that is why we have invested money in Monago Hospital. Right now, we are carrying out extensive physical renovation of Monago, and we are going to buy high-tech equipment to install in the various departments of Monago. And once the renovation is completed, give us 1 year, 2 years, we are going to turn Monago into a center of excellence. Did you know, for instance, we have actually trained our experts in Monago to do organ transplant. They can now remove your kidney and give it to me, and vice versa right now. And those are the operations we are going to be doing in Monago, but after the renovations. So we have deliberately, as a government, put more resources, even got money from external funders like ADB to capitalize and build the capacity of Monago Hospital. And we are going to significantly reduce this medical tourism. So the number of Ugandans who are going outside, we have to reverse that direction. That's the trend.
You're
That's the
actually calling
direction
it medical
we're taking.
tourism.
Absolutely.
Some
absolutely.
people go when
but
they do
also,
not know.
you should know the principle of referral.
They're going to save a life.
The principle of referral in the medical profession is normal. If a patient is referred from Kambuga Hospital in Kanungu to Mbarara, from Mbarara to Kampala, Murago, it is a normal practice within the medical profession.
The problem, it's a normal practice, and I agree. The problem
Yes.
is that the National Referral Hospital is beginning as a clinic, as the first health center, 1 or 2 or 3,
Well,
instead of being referred to complicated.
Absolutely. The referral system has not been functioning properly, that I agree.
Yeah.
But we are trying
So what
to
you're saying
streamline
is in the
it.
books, but it's not happening in Uganda.
No. How are we trying to manage it? First of all, we didn't have big hospitals within Kampala. We had these small KCCA health centers.
Yeah, equipment.
We have invested money, for instance, to build new hospitals. Look at Naguru Hospital is one. We are completing Kawempe Hospital. We are completing Chirudu Hospital in Makinde. Once these are complete, and I think Chirudu should be ready by end of April, Kawempe by mid-May or end of May should be ready. Then most of the conditions will now be handled in these satellite hospitals in Kampala, and we shall free Murago of these ordinary cases of malaria, normal pregnancies, normal deliveries, and so forth, so that Murago can be left to handle super specialized treatment. And therefore, the budget we have been giving to Murago will now be fair, much more fairer, to facilitate Murago to be able to do some of those sophisticated operations. So I agree, we have been actually treating even ordinary cases, but this is going to stop. Let
me bring your attention to a report in the Daily Monitor today done by Bureau Chief in Fort Portal, Felix Masima. He was following a case of a young lady, middle-aged woman, 35 years, Grace Kobsinge, who died at a health unit in Bukuku simply because she could not be taken to a regional referral hospital. There is no ambulance, something like that. I mean, how can we?
That was quite unfortunate, definitely, because no mother should die because of pregnancy or childbirth.
But isn't that like the norm? We have 19 women dying every day while giving a life?
No. The figure has since come down, for your information. 19 was being computed when maternal mortality ratio was estimated.
We have almost the highest maternal mortality rate in Africa.
That's not true. I can tell you, as a matter of fact, that 30 years ago, maternal mortality ratio, which is a measure of women dying due to pregnancy and childbirth, was at 700 deaths per 100,000 live births. It fell to 506, to 505, to 435, then it increased a bit to 438. That's when they were computing 19 women. Now the UN estimates put it at 360. So it has fallen in the last 30 years from 700 to 360. We're actually now going to carry out a demographic and health survey that will give us the current estimate. So it has been coming down, which is appreciable, but of course we are challenged to even do more and bring it to zero, because
I was at a health center 3 or 4.
So but what you are describing
in Amuru district.
So what you describe
in Amuru district, and I found this only one, I should say, superstar, you know, midwife, working on about 80 mothers. One person.
Yes, those are some of the challenges. So I was saying, what happened at Bukuku is very unfortunate.
When things go wrong?
And we are actually re-establishing an ambulance system in Uganda, because we send the ambulances to hospitals, but I think their functionality still needs to be fine-tuned. You find people can't ask to buy fuel and they don't afford fuel. We are now establishing a new ambulance system. We are going to start piloting it in Kampala. We already have ambulances. You must have seen them at the ministry, but we shall expand it to cover the whole country. The issue of human resource for health workers, definitely is a challenge. And it's true in some of the health centers, you find there are few health workers overburdened by huge lines of patients, but we continue to provide resources in terms of money to recruit additional health workers. Like
Dr. Baryomunsi, you're a medical doctor.
Yes.
You have worked in hospital.
Yes.
Actually, even worked in my district as a district health officer.
Yes.
You understand the cries of the medical workers better.
Absolutely, yes.
They deserve better.
Definitely, I agree
with you. And this
government
this country can afford. It's just having priorities wrong.
Well. I agree with you. The health workers in this country are not paid well. That one is not debatable. And we are actually right now looking at different options of how we can motivate and pay the health workers better. For instance, the argument is that we cannot just pick out a cadre of civil servants and increase their salaries because we have a single spine structure, but we are looking at options like introducing on-call allowances, special allowances for health workers. This has been done in some countries, and we have proposals. We are engaging government to see how we can motivate our health workers better. That one we are handling as Ministry of Health, as government. But I agree, the health workers in Uganda are not remunerated very well compared to some of the health workers elsewhere. And we continue actually to lose some of the critical cadres of health workers. We have lost some of our specialists from northern Uganda. They have gone to South Sudan. Others go outside. So it's an issue which we are handling and we are aware of.
South Sudan is the newest country in Africa with probably the poorest infrastructure. If there is the hardest reach-to-reach area in Africa, it must be found somewhere in South Sudan. But Ugandan doctors can be able to work in hardest to reach areas because they are paid better.
Paid by UN, and the partners.
There's no hard-to-reach area.
No, they are not going there to work for the government, but they are being recruited by UN agencies and these external funders who pay opulent allowances compared to what the government pays. So don't create an impression that South Sudan, which is a new country.
You just mentioned it here yourself.
Yes, they went there. They were recruited by partners, these donors, the UN agencies, bilateral agencies, not the government of South Sudan. But we do acknowledge, and I concede that...
So any medical doctor can go anywhere so long as you have paid him well and you have facilitated him well.
Absolutely.
So there's no hard-to-reach area like we hear, hard-to-reach in Koboko, right? I don't know whether even Kenjojo is part of them, where he come from.
And of course, there are many places which are hard to reach, and we actually pay special allowances over and above what the workers get.
But the South Sudanese have shown you there is no hard to reach.
No, it is the donors. It is the donors. Even in Uganda here, by the way, I used to work with the UNFPA, the United Nations Population Fund, as an expert there. I was earning much better than what I earn as even an MOP. So the agencies, the donor agencies, UN agencies, these bilateral agencies, these USAID and so forth, they pay much better. So the doctors who went there are not being attracted by government, by those donor agencies. Even in Uganda here, we have lost many health workers who have left the government system.
Like Baylor in Western Uganda, I don't know whether it's also here. Wouldn't you be having big challenges in giving medical services to the people? Because now they're even offered to build, I'm told, to build, extend power services to health units that didn't have facilities where the case I've told you about of a woman who died.
The partners supplement the efforts of government, and we do appreciate their support, but the primary support comes from government. And then the partners, whether UN agencies, bilateral agencies,
Baryomunsi,
they supplement. Yes, they supplement.
It is not a primary support. Let me give you an example.
Yes.
In the fight against HIV/AIDS,
yes,
the major support is coming from the United States government. The money that is put in the fight. So that you can't call that primary.
Yes, but the HIV/AIDS program can only work on a functioning health system. Yes, and who maintain the system? The health workers, the health infrastructure.
But they've put in more money than the government of Uganda.
Well, yes, in the case of some
programs... So how do you outsource the job of treating your people to another nation?
No. True, some programs may be funded heavily by partners, like HIV/AIDS, maybe family planning, some isolated programs. But the health system, the health care arrangement is largely funded by government. Then we get supplementary support from these agencies, which we do appreciate. But when you look at the UN, who is the UN? We contribute to the UN. So don't look at the money from UNICEF, WHO, UNFPA, World Food Program, as if UN is an external force. UN is Uganda plus Kenya plus Tanzania plus South Africa plus America plus Europe, a combination of all countries, and we contribute regularly to some of these funds.
Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I'll open the line so that you too can ask the question that you have or contribute to this program. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Amara. My guest tonight is Honorable Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, the Minister of State for Health. And there was a recent spectacle at Parliament which reinforces the belief that the health sector is in shambles. Let me actually I quote Dr. Diana Twine, a State House aide, who claimed that medicines are getting spoiled. They are doing shoddy work and stealing money in construction. Some doctors close facilities and go for weddings. Doctor houses are filled with sorghum, and others stand into chicken houses, and medicines cannot be accounted for. This is from Dr. Diana Twine at Parliament.
Well, those are high-sounding words. Okay, Dr. Diana heads the Medicines and Service Delivery Monitoring Unit of State House.
Monitoring a unit, and this is what she formed. Yes.
True, she could be finding some cases of such a nature in the countryside. But I don't think that's the description of what the health sector is.
This is the description made by the head of the monitoring unit at State House. It really talks about being in shambles.
But does it mean, for instance, every house she described, you will find sorghum, even when the sorghum is not grown in that area? Yes, she goes and does monitoring, but I think the problem is how she brings that report to improve the work of the Ministry of Health and Health Care Delivery Services. And I think there has been a disconnect between her work, which we do appreciate. Monitoring is extremely important, but we have now put in place mechanisms of how she can bring those reports in a timely manner to the Ministry of Health. We study them, and then we take recommendations to appropriate agencies and departments. But I don't think that describes the accurate really characterization of the health sector in Uganda. There are very many positive things which are out there.
But who is better qualified to make a description of the healthcare system in Uganda other than the head of the monitoring unit?
Yes, but I'm also telling you as the Minister for Health, responsible for health of Ugandans. I don't sit in the Ministry of Health alone. I travel, I move, I reach all parts of the country. It is not true that the system is rotten.
So you disagree with her report?
No. Some of the observations are correct, because you may go to a particular health unit, maybe the store is not properly looked after, but you cannot generalize that all the stores in the country are like that. But we take her findings in good faith and positive, and they help us to improve what we do. Because the one way of measuring the performance of the health sector is using impact indicators, which are calculated using population-based surveys. For instance, if you interrogate the recent results of the census, what do they show? They show infant mortality has considerably come down to about 53. Under 5 mortality has come down from 3 digits to about 80. Life expectancy at birth has increased to 63, and at one time it had fallen at 43. Total fertility rate, which is a measure of the children women are bearing, has fallen from 6.97 to 5.8. And many other indicators. Contraceptive prevalence rate, use of family planning has risen from 5% about 20 years ago to 34%. So there is progress in a number of areas, and these things don't happen on their own. It is a result of the efforts in the health sector plus other players. So there are many positive things happening, but true, there are also areas where we must improve, and we appreciate the work that she does, but maybe we need to rediscuss how do we utilize her findings to improve the sector,
opening the lines
to improve the health sector, yes. But you cannot say the lines so that everything is collapsed.
I'm going to refer this.
Absolutely.
I'm going to refer this using your word.
Yes.
Make a referral to the people of Uganda so that they can.
Absolutely.
I'm taking this case to you.
Yes.
So what do you have to say? I'm going to take the first call online. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Yes, good evening, Kamara. How are you?
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Okay, I'm called Nyembe Richard Biamaro, calling from the ends of Chibuli. Now, first of all, Honorable Chris Baryomunsi, something touched my mind. A couple of weeks, 1 or 2 weeks back, President Yoweri Museveni went and visited Mulago. Then after 3 days upon his visit, news broke out that the Mulago cancer, the radiotherapy machine had broken down. And it reminded me, John Pombe Magufuli, when he had just sworn in as president of Tanzania, he visited Muhimbili National Referral Hospital in Dar es Salaam, where he recommended that the money which was going to be used as his swearing-in party, as his victory party rather, be better used to facilitate the hospital by buying beds and mattresses. Now, after Museveni's visit to Mulago Hospital, 3 days, the news breaks out that the radiotherapy machine is down. Then, a week later, NRM holds a party worth 1.5 billion shillings. That's according to Kasule Lumumba. Yet the radiotherapy machine costs about $1 million, which is about 3 billion, equivalent to what NRM spent. That's half of money.
Okay.
Now, what is the logic here?
All right. I think
Speaking, where is Uganda going? What's the logic here, Mr. Baryomunsi? If you can.
you're saying does it make sense? Thank you very much, Mr. Biamaro. Let me take another caller online. Hello. Hello. We seem to have missed that caller. Let me take another caller. Hello. Hello.
Good evening, Kamara.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm called Dr. Bumba Ahmed.
Yes.
Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, I'd like you to refer the statements you made in Parliament.
Yes.
Even though it was expected that cancer patients are going to die at one stage, but I think the manner in which you communicated their death in that public forum needed to have been put in a better and simpler manner. I would understand you as a medical practitioner, but then Kamara and his colleagues, I'm sure, are going to be taking you up on that one. What do you have to say about that?
Okay.
Your communication of the fate of cancer patients in the light of
his choice of words at the floor
Of Parliament.
of Parliament.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Let me take another call online, and I'm going to ask my producer to turn up the volume a little bit on this side so that Dr. Baryomunsi can hear. Hello. Hello.
Good evening, Kamara.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from tonight?
I'm called Musinguzi, calling from Mbarara.
Musinguzi in Mbarara, you're on air, sir.
Yes, I've been listening to the program, and they find the minister very insensitive, arrogant, and inconsiderate. The truth is, sometimes saying the truth and acknowledging the problem is more mature and professional than being defensive where it is unnecessary.
Okay, Musinguzi can continue, but let me ask the technical person to increase on the volume, to turn up the volume on our side so that we can be able to hear.
Okay.
Okay, continue, Mr. Musinguzi.
Yes. I was listening, and I find it how I lost my father last year of cancer. And you know what it means.
Okay.
When someone is in pain and listens to what the minister is saying, I would appreciate if they became sorry and told the people that, yes, we acknowledge the problem, we are sorry, we are going to work on it as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Musinguzi in Mbarara. Let me take 2 more or 3 callers, and then Dr. Baryomunsi will respond at once. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Good evening. And what's your name and where are you calling from?
Paul from Kamocha.
Yes, sir. What's your name?
Paul.
Paul in Kamocha. Go right ahead.
Hello.
You're on air, Paul. Go right ahead.
Yeah, this is Paul from Kamocha. I just wanted to ask the minister.
Yes.
You're talking about buying state-of-the-art equipment in Mulago. The Ginger ICU unit was renovated by the Japanese government. I believe it's the best in the country, but it is lying unutilized because the machines are all redundant. Workers are demotivated, and it's not being put to use. So how do you expect that when you buy these machines, you're going to actually use them when workers are not being measured well?
Thank you, Paul in Kamocha. I may take another call online. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Richard.
I'm sorry?
I want to know from the minister.
Yes.
Uganda. By saying that the machine is not talking about it.
I'm sorry, sir. The line is not clear, so we cannot make sense of what you're saying. Probably you'll have to call again. Unfortunately, I have to drop that line. I have to call to pick another call. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. What's your name?
My name is Joseph Karunji.
Where are you calling from, Joseph?
I am calling from Kamwenge district.
Go right ahead, sir.
In Kamwenge, we have an issue of podoriosis in Usiriba.
I've been there. I've been to Usiriba.
And sometime back in northern Uganda, where there was nodding disease, Parliament passed a 2 billion supplementary budget. Now, since the issue of podoriosis in Usiriba is caused by a virus from the soil, it is that the whole population of Usiriba is at risk since they are all farmers.
Has that been confirmed that elephantiasis, if that's what you mean, in Usiriba is caused by the volcanic soils in that area, or it's something else?
Yes, there is a report by the district health office. So that is confirmed.
Which condition is it talking about?
Is that elephantiasis or something else?
Yes, it is actually elephantiasis, but the medical term is podoriosis.
Okay, I just wanted for everybody to understand.
Yeah, so
Okay.
now why can't Parliament, since now Dr. Baryomunsi is the health minister in charge, why can't Parliament be able to pass a supplementary budget and have all the people of Busiriba supplied with gumboots as like a primary measure to ensure that this soil is not coming into contact with the farmers there? Because if the virus is...
Okay, thank you very much. It's not only in Busiriba, it is as far as Kicheche and Kitagwenda and other sub-counties in Kamwenge, where you find over 200 people in one sub-county, all of them suffering from elephantiasis, and they see their legs being, rotting away as they look at them. I've seen those pictures which are gut-wrenching. Okay, you have to respond now.
Yes, thank you very much. Let me thank the callers who have put their questions and the comments. I think the first caller was saying the president visited Marago, then shortly after the machine broke down. I think this was just...
And shortly after there was a bash, a bash, and which cost 1.5 billion.
First of all, the breaking down of the machine and the president's visit, I think just a coincidence. They don't have any relationship. But for us, as people managing the health sector, we appreciate the president's visit to Marago Hospital so that he can see things firsthand. And the bash, the victory celebration, yes. But I have said that we had already paid for the machine in 2013. So the fact of the matter is that the government has not refused to buy a machine. And there was even an attempt to fundraise and bring a machine by ordinary Ugandans, which is very good. It shows the care they have for our health. But you see, even if you bought the machine today and you brought it, it will not help us until when we have constructed a new bunker. It will still just lie there. Probably we shall not even allow
bunker,
you
as if you're constructing another nuclear power plant. How come
absolutely. Like I said, the bunker is not an ordinary building that you put up. Like when the advert was put, looking for a contractor, there is no farm, no engineering firm in Uganda that has the capacity to construct this. They had to zero on external firms because this is a sophisticated kind of work which has to be done. And even the design in Parliament today, when I talked about the design taking some time, they were saying, why? This is not the ordinary work done by you and I. It is done by experts. And I think we have to give it time sometimes for them to do a very good job. Some people say, the English say, the process is as good as a product. There is no sense, no point in rushing a process. At the end of the day, you get a fake product, and then we destroy the bunker. So we shall give the experts who construct the bunker to do their part and make sure they do it. In some countries, bunkers have been constructed, then at the end, the experts come and destroy these bunkers because they don't meet the
somebody
standards.
wants to know how long will it take in the construction of this bunker?
Yes, like I said earlier on, we are engaging the contractor, the people responsible are engaging the contractor to work day and night. And the assurance we've been given that in 6 months, the construction should be complete. And let me also...
So is work going on in Mlago right now?
No. The groundbreaking will be first week of May because the procurement process is just being completed. They have just identified the best bidder. And now they are in the process of signing the contract and the works will start in May. But and then give it 6 months. Give it 6 months. And ministers, we have no business no role to play with procurement. It's not, it should be done by technical people, not us, the political leaders. But let us give it time for the experts to do their work. Because it would be wrong to rush them and say in 2 months, put in place a bunker. If the experts say you can't do it, you must make sure that it follows the standards, the structural integrity, in terms of the chemical components and so forth, must follow the standards, then they will do it according to the prescribed standards, so that we have a good bunker which will be approved by the International Atomic Energy Council, which has to endorse it before it can be utilized. So even if you brought the machine, the new machine today, it will not be used until when you get a new bunker. So the government has not reneged on its responsibility to bring in a machine. This delay is because the expert advice was we should first construct a bunker and then the machine comes. And like I said earlier on, we have already paid for the machine, and once the construction starts, the manufacture will start and it will be here. Ahmad referred to what I said at Parliament. This afternoon, a question was raised in Parliament, the very issue we are discussing of the cancer, and I tried to elaborate and explain. I did not say that the cancer patients will die anyway. But somebody was saying that because of the machine breaking down, patients are going to die. And I said, no. I said, well, patients and even non-patients will always die, but it's not true that the breaking down of the machine in Morago will result in more deaths of patients. That's the statement I did. But I'm told somebody has twisted it on social media to say that the Minister of Health has said the cancer patients should die. That's not true. That's not what I said. So if somebody misunderstood what I said, then it's regrettable. But I said the breakdown of the machine will not result in more deaths per se. But deaths always occur. Even I might die from here before I reach home, even when I'm not the cancer patient. That is a fact. But I didn't say that cancer patients must die or that they will continue to die. I am a doctor. I am trained to save life. My duty as a professional doctor is to preserve life and save it. So I cannot say patients should die.
Thank you.
So I must have been misunderstood by whoever wrote
Our
what
time
he has
is running
written.
out, Dr.
Now,
Baryomunsi.
Mr. Musinguzi of Mbarara says I am arrogant. I don't know. Maybe. Okay, I am sorry if you see me as arrogant, but maybe that's the style the Wachiga speak. He's saying we should say sorry as the government. We are going to work on the machine. Okay, if that is the word which makes you comfortable, we are sorry. We regret that the machine broke down. It was an accident, and accidents do occur. It is regrettable.
Procured this machine at the same time Ghana procured theirs.
Yes.
And I'm told for them in 2012 they shipped it back into China.
Well, arrangements will be made to dispose the machine in accordance with the standard.
Thank you very much,
Standard
Dr.
measures.
Baryomunsi. What is...
I think there was a question on ICU in Jinja.
Yeah,
I am aware we got support from our partners.
Japan.
The problem in Jinja has been lack of the relevant appropriate personnel to man that ICU unit. We have currently undertaken a recruitment process through the Health Service Commission, and we are going to post there the workers. But also, as government, we are restructuring the government departments and ministries, including Ministry of Health. The challenge we have been having is that the structure we are running on has been an old structure, not expansible. We have not been able to add more.
Elephantiasis in Busiriba.
So I want to assure
Yes.
Paul that in the restructuring, we are even now going to accommodate a new cadre of health workers, like biomedical engineers, who can actually maintain some of these machines.
Okay.
And in the current structure, we don't have that provision.
Now, elephantiasis.
Joseph Karunji talks over elephantiasis. It's very unfortunate that we have that condition there. It's not caused by soil, but I hadn't addressed my mind this problem. I didn't know it's a huge problem. I worked in Kamwenge, as you know. I don't recall it was a big problem then.
It is.
Then, but
I've been to that sub-county myself.
I am going to, now it's late, but I will call the DHOR in the morning. We shall get information and check with my office at the Ministry of Health, and the appropriate measures will be taken. And I will send a team of surveillance officers from Ministry of Health to go to Busiriba.
They have been there two times from the ministry.
Okay,
So
I
you
will
have
now
a report on your
cross-check.
desk.
I will
All
cross-check
right.
and get their reports. But
Thank you.
elephantiasis is not caused by soil.
Well, I don't. That's what he's.
Some other organisms, but I don't have time now to explain. But we shall take appropriate action. It may not necessarily be a supplementary. We can mobilize resources even from within the budget that we have and take appropriate measures to address that concern.
Thank you.
If not, enough has been done.
Thank you. Our time is out, unfortunately. I wish we could have talked more on this issue because it affects the people of Uganda. Thank you very much, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, for your time. And
Thank you very much.
The people of Uganda, I referred some questions to you, and I suppose you did justice. Good night, and God bless Uganda.